Yeah, we are back. I see Cody grooving.
Bro, that new intro is in fuego, dude. Oh my goodness.
Shout
We
out
may
to Jay
have the greatest.
Rich.
Oh, bro, Jay does the greatest work, dude. Oh my god, that intro is absolutely fire.
I was like jumping up and down when I seen it because, like, holy hell. Like, Jordan, you went in. I don't know if you're watching right now, but you went in on the intro and this beautiful new layout.
Yeah, I mean, look, the fire content just gets hotter and hotter, man. That's how the fantasy heat check works. It just gets hotter and hotter as the season goes on. It's a beautiful thing. We got some more content coming at you. New channel. It's great.
32-bit. We are now joining. You're going to be shooting 7 o'clock every Thursday on 32-bit YouTube. I know we're here on the Real Deal Fantasy, but working on some things, technical difficulties. But we will be full sending today's show. What we got today, Cody?
Man, we have just an incredible slate. First off, week 13, great slate of football games. We have a great Thursday night game, and we have a bunch to talk about because there are so many injuries, dude. What is going on this year? It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. I don't think it's going to end. And unfortunately, season's coming to an end and fantasy playoffs are around the corner. And I'm not too sure what a championship team is going to look like.
So I do know what it's not going to look like, and it's not going to have several players on the roster. First off, let's talk CMC. He's on IR, likely done for the rest of the year.
Oh, yeah, he's donezo. He's gone.
I'm sure we're going to talk about this during the offseason, so I don't want to get into it too much today. But
yeah,
I think CMC's time as the number one overall pick has come and gone. I think it's over. That sucks. I hate it. But Jonathan Taylor's here. It's a great thing. But that is next year's conversation. We'll talk about that during the offseason, I'm sure. But for this season, we now have Chuba Hubbard, however you pronounce his name, Chuba Bubba.
Yeah.
And Amir Abdullah. So the question is, how do you value each of these running backs going forward? And are you confident? Now, they're on a bye this week, but how confident are you throwing them into your lineups from here on out, especially in the playoffs when it matters?
I'm not confident either way because it's not CMC, but I am liking Amir Abdullah. Like, I'm liking his snap share. I'm liking his target share. I mean, the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing a lot of Amir Abdullah, a lot more than, Chuba Hubbard. And if we go back a couple of weeks, when he first got signed, we didn't think anything of it. But, man, he's getting those targets out of the backfield, and he's out snapping, a Chuba Hubbard. So it's kind of like, the fact that, Amir Abdullah was splitting, basically target shares with, CMC when he first came back in that week 9 game. He had 18% target share, and so did CMC. So it looks like they signed him for a reason. They look like he has a role there. So moving forward in the playoffs, I don't trust Chuba Hubbard based on we're not really going to get any PPR value out of him. We're not going to get any red zone value out of him because we have a Cam Newton there. So he doesn't have much touchdown upside. He doesn't have PPR upside. So him and I want to say Alex Collins have the same value right now.
Yeah, I value Chuba a little bit more. I think he's a little more talented than Alex Collins. I think he's in a better situation, at least at the moment, than Alex Collins because Seattle's offense is quite frankly broken at the moment. I do think there's value to be had in both backs. I just don't think they're set it and forget it running back twos. I think some of it comes on time and place, and Troy out here. We love Troy. Be sure if you guys love this type of content at halftime, Troy does a 10-minute little thing during the Thursday Night Football show. Check that out as well. But we got to give you the before the Thursday Night Football stuff, and let's talk about it. Injuries. Yep. It's that time. Alvin Kamara is not playing tonight. He didn't practice on Monday. He's out today. They announced it about the middle of the day, noonish. How do we feel? One, about Mark Ingram, and two, about this whole, well, we'll get into the Saints offense, but let's talk about Mark Ingram now because he's replacing Alvin Kamara. Do you feel comfortable starting him tonight?
I like Mark Ingram. I got to say, I feel as though the last 2 weeks he had double-digit points. I feel as though he's healthy now. If he's practicing and a full participant, it looks like the arrow's pointing up. He definitely has some, touchdown upside. I definitely like
Mhm.
the matchup today against Dallas. I mean, Dallas defense doesn't really scare me at stopping the run, but I feel
Agreed.
as though we've seen a Mark Ingram in a Sean Payton system, and that's why he's going to be able to, put up some type of fantasy points. I think we could full send him as a RB2, maybe a low end RB2, but RB1. I'm not sure if that's on the table. It might be, but Taysom Hill is the starter, so he's going to be running the ball as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do feel comfortable. I think Taysom takes away some of that chances for a touchdown. I do like Taysom Hill to score a rushing touchdown tonight, but
Yeah.
we'll talk about that later. Long story short, if Kamara's out, I'm playing Ingram. Speaking of the top end running backs, they're falling like dominoes, man. Dalvin Cook with a dislocated shoulder, injured labrum.
Yeah.
I'm
The
not really
same injury.
100% sure. I know it's upper body. In hockey, they would just say it's upper body or lower body. That's all they say.
It's the same injury as Baker had, Odell Beckham had. It's just a nuisance. It's annoying. I feel as though, it's a good sign that we didn't, hear him on IR for the rest of the season, but I think he'll be back just in time for the fantasy playoffs. But it's definitely Alexander Madison time this week. I think we full send it with him going against Detroit because Detroit's defense is completely poo-poo. The team is just poo-poo. So I think a lot of people will be happy, what they get out of Alexander Madison this week. So that's definitely a full send.
Yeah, and I love Alexander Madison. I think he gets a full workload here. Someone to keep an eye on in deeper leagues, 14-team leagues, whatever. And I am going to butcher this name, so I absolutely apologize. Kene Ngongwu
I like it.
Nwangwu.
You tried it.
Kene Nwangwu. I don't know if that is pronounced correctly. That is on me to do a little bit more research, especially after that 99-yard kick return touchdown he had last week.
Yeah.
I do see him getting some touches just because he's an explosive
Absolutely.
player. His athletic scores are off the charts. So I could absolutely see him getting some touches, just something to keep an eye on. I'm not by any means saying start him. I'm not even saying you need to roster him, but just keep an eye out for him, Yeah, that's why they make the button.
Bro, the watch list is probably the best button. Like, seriously, I think it's underused. Like,
I would agree.
A lot of people need to value that because, like, the watch list button, boop, you ain't got to go searching for a player, or like when you have to, go look at a guy and just right there, quick use.
Add that to the off-season topics, top 10 buttons in fantasy football.
Yo, I love that. As Mike Williams finally figures it out, what's your take? Oh, wow. Cody, I'll let you take the phone.
All right, John. I agree partially. I think the Chargers exploit a matchup here, and that is Mike Williams being guarded by Eli Apple. Eli Apple has had a decent season, obviously not the season that or not the draft pick that he went in for the New York Giants in the first round, but he's had a decent year as the Bengals' number 2 corner. I think the Bengals really emphasize trying to stop Keenan Allen, and Herbert's going to have to throw the ball. So I could see Mike Williams having a bounce back game. What are your thoughts, LQ?
No. I'm just
you're out?
I'm out.
Bro, he's so streaky.
I know. And I think the catch last week where it was just like, woo, like, he catches the ball very dangerous. And I feel as though, I'm just not buying into Mike Williams, especially during the playoffs, because a lot of teams are in the hunt right now. Like, I'm in a league, 2 leagues actually, where I'm at that 7th seed, where I'm like right here from the 6th seed. And I can't be gambling with people. I need to go with what I know. So, like, I can't be gambling with a Mike Williams. I can't be gambling with a Miles Gaskins, even though we'll get to him later. But I feel as though guys like that one player that can just knock you out at a playoff hunt. And I need to go with what I know, and I need to go with my gut. So I'm out.
Yeah. I don't know. I do think that he has a shot to be productive this week because Eli Apple by no means is a shutdown corner, and that Bengals. I think Awuzie sticks with Keenan Allen a little bit more. we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how. But honestly, that's one thing as a Bengals fan I'm interested to see this week is how they defend the Chargers. I think that'll tell us a lot about how the Bengals intend to defend some of the better players going forward this year. So, but let's circle back to the injuries because Lord knows Mike Williams looks like he's going to get injured every time he catches the ball. But that dude is the king of like making a catch. Then you're like, oh, is he going to get up? Like,
that's why Josh Palmer's there, man. I feel as though he can make the same catches. He's just more safe about doing it.
So let's talk about two guys who aren't out. They're playing, but they might not be 100%. Jalen Hurts has an ankle injury. And for most quarterbacks, I'd be like, whatever. Doesn't matter. Not a big deal. Jalen Hurts is the number 2 fantasy quarterback. He also has 44% of his fantasy points have come from rushing this season. Yeah. How big of a deal is this ankle injury? Are you comfortable starting him against the Jets?
I'm going to start him based on, I don't think the ankle injury is as serious as we think, because I think players like Jalen Hurts, they're gonna find a way. They're gonna fight through it. They're gonna fight through injury, et cetera, et cetera. It is a little alarming that he has an ankle injury and 44% of his fantasy points come from the ground, but I still think he's gonna have Dallas Goedert to lean on, a Devontae Smith to lean on. Like, the touchdowns are still going to be there. The Jets are terrible. The Jets aren't that great. The Jets are number 1 in rushing touchdowns. So I think, rushing touchdowns allowed, I should say. So their defense is still going to allow Jalen Hurts to find a way to get into the end zone. So I'm starting my stud for that.
Yeah, it sucks, but he's one of those guys where it's like you got to start him because he's gotten you to this point. You got to stick with what you got.
If he gets me 20 points this week or 20 to 25, I think I'll be okay.
I'll be okay.
20 at the 4, I'll be okay.
Very happy with that.
Yeah. It's 20.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Last guy we're going to talk about injury report wise. And the main reason we're talking about him is because he's playing tonight in Thursday Night Football. Amari Cooper looks to be on sort of a snap counts package use situation. Steph Smalls tweeted out this screams decoy, and I agree. There's no way he's going to get a full target share, right?
Nah, I think his target share will probably be less than 10%. If he is out there, I feel as though that's like not worth starting. It's really not. It's kind of like a gamble. Like I was just saying, like it's playoffs time. Like it's playoff season, man. There's no way I'm going to be playing Amari Cooper tonight if I'm in the front.
Real fans of the fantasy heat check know volume is king. And if you're only getting 10% target share, I can't start you. Yeah.
Not. If you're not going to be a guy out there that's going to get me targets, you're not going to play. If you're just a route runner guy that's running circles 100 times, like, oh, he ran 31 routes, opportunity. No, it just means he's out there just running just to run. So no, he does not get the starting job.
Love that. All right. So let's move into the bold predictions, best bets before we move on to Thursday Night Football. LQ, let's start it off because you got a little bit of a bold prediction here that piques my interest for sure.
So we're gonna go back to the Jalen Hurts ankle injury. So I don't think this will be the reason why the Jets beat them as my bold prediction, but the Jets, man, they're one of those teams like you just can't like hate on. You can't root against them because they always put up a fight though. They go out there, they know they have Zach Wilson as their quarterback again. It's going to be interceptions and turnovers. That's absolutely what's going to happen. Every single game that Zach Wilson started and finished, he has an interception. He's going to throw an interception. But I feel as though this defense and the offense, they can get something gelled and going. Elijah Moore is somebody that I'm really excited about to see. I just have them winning by a field goal. It's going to come down to it. I'm just going to say it. I mean, I put it in the universe. It may happen, but I see an upset happen as my bold prediction.
I love that. I'm going to follow. I'm going to actually it kind of leads into your next thing as well, but
yeah,
I love the Dolphins -4.5 this week. That is my best bet. I'll have a post on social media about it too later on this week as we get closer to Sunday. But the Dolphins, man, they've won 4 straight, all by 7+ points. I love the Dolphins this week at home against the Giants. No Danny Dimes. They're past. I don't know. Like, why did they sign Kenny Golladay to that big of a deal? Because that looks like maybe the worst contract of the offseason. That looks terrible.
Hopefully they have an out.
The Dolphins, like, they're not like a playoff team, but they're like, hey, I don't want to play this team towards the end of the season team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they're frisky. Yeah. So I think the Dolphins -4.5 is my favorite bet of the weekend. I'm a big fan of that. But speaking of Dolphins, man, your guy, dude. I see so much more about that on Twitter now that you've talked about it. And it's just one of those things where it's like, man, surely it's got to give up.
Yeah, it's a little toxic, but I think he keeps it going. I think he finally snapped out of the curse. I feel as though he can give us another 18-point game or even maybe a 20. I mean, he doesn't have like the best matchup, but the Giants right now, they're 5th in most fantasy points allowed per game for running backs. So I think, they're averaging 20 points per game to running backs. I think, Myles Gaskin get 18 to 20 points. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, he's in a good spot for sure. And I do think that the Giants get down early and the Dolphins have to run the ball. And then my fantasy bowl prediction, which I don't know how bold this is at this point because he's been the talking point of fantasy football for a while now. I think Joe Mixon is the RB1 this week. He goes up against a putrid Chargers run defense. Quite frankly, they are not good. It looks like it's going to rain in Cincinnati, so I would expect them to lean on the run, although I don't, it may or may not be a super run-heavy game. But he just came off his career high in rushing yards last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Bengals have been running this outside zone scheme with their new offensive line coach. It's been a beauty to watch, and it's kind of in tandem what Joe Mixon excelled at Oklahoma, and now you're seeing him kick its ass in the NFL. I love Joe Mixon this week. I'm all over him in DFS. I'm all over him from the sports gambling standpoint, from player props, and from fantasy football. I think he will be the RB1 this week. I'm pumped. Give me all the Joe Mixon.
I love it. I love all Joe Mixon love. I love it. I'm going to full send it, and I'm right there with you. Joe Mixon season been started. Let's just say that. Joe Mixon season started in June for me. I'm just saying it started in June.
My Bengals get some love. It feels good.
Like Cody thinks I'm a Bengals fan now, but I'm not. I just love some of your players. That's about it.
Bro, I'll be a Rams fan by proxy. They could be my NFC team when the Bengals inevitably lose their first round of the playoffs because that's what we do.
You're so honest. And
look, I've watched the Bengals for a long time. I know how this story ends.
You sound like me in the Jeff Fisher era. And like a lot of people, like this is how toxic. Real quick, let's go off topic real quick. This is how toxic Rams like fucking Twitter is. Like I was like, yeah, the Jeff Fisher era. Like you guys forget that I survived that. Like people don't understand. Like that wasn't the worst era, but you got to understand it's the worst era for me because I was in high school. Like I was actually a teenager paying attention to football. Like of course I know the history about the Rams. It's great, but there's a lot of people on Rams Twitter that don't understand the Jeff Fisher era was terrible for me as a fan, knowing we have the talent, knowing we're drafting great players and we can't win a fucking game and we can't make it to the playoffs. There's no Super Bowl hopes ever with Jeff Fisher. So that's my
tough.
Rams fan.
That is tough. At least you're brighter days. I don't mind. I'm in I guess I follow you and Jake. I mean, are the only two people in Rams Twitter that I really follow. So shout out Jake.
Cool I stay out of it. Like I jumped in it one time and I said literally one thing and then boom. Attack.
Bro, Bengals Twitter came at my throat last week, dude.
Hold on. You speak about that? I couldn't respond.
Oh my
driving. Two, I'm like trying to catch up. I'm like, what the hell's going on with Cody today?
Bro, I got absolutely roasted for saying that the Bengals didn't deserve a primetime game. I was like, I get it, but man, like let's focus on winning the games we got first before we focus about playing Sunday night football.
Like look how far we come, like as the Rams fan, to get prime time. Like there was a time where we had zero. Like 3 years in a row, but yet we're watching the terrible Bears and the Browns at their bad years get prime time. It's like, what the hell?
About money. Everybody knows it's about money. The Bears are going to get their prime time. The Cowboys are going to get their prime time. The New York teams are going to get their prime time. It is what it is. It sucks. But
it is what it is. Yeah.
All right. So speaking of primetime, Thursday night football, Cowboys and Saints in the Superdome down in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Cowboys are 6.5-point favorites. The over-under has, which originally the Saints or Cowboys were like 4-point favorites. And then they ruled Kamara out. They're now 6.5-point favorites. Over-under has dropped to 45.5. LQ, how do we see this game going? What's your prediction for the game tonight?
So my prediction is, Taysom Hill, he has like QB1 numbers on the table today. So I feel as though he's going to do his thing, on the ground, of course, a couple of rushing touchdowns here and there, which might hurt Mark Ingram. But Dak is about to absolutely go crazy on this defense. I think the Saints are like 5th against quarterbacks, points per game. So Dak is going to have a pretty good, nice outing. But it's a matter of pinpointing, like, how involved, Amari Cooper is going to be. Not a lot, but I hate to see him get 4 to 5 targets when those 4 to 5 targets could go to CeeDee Lamb, could go to Dalton Schultz, etc. And we might see a lot of Tony Pollard. So I feel as though this might be a well-balanced, Dallas offense game where everybody eats fantasy-wise. So on the flip side of it, Taysom Hill, he's going to have to get like a Marquise Callaway, downfield big play maybe, or, maybe a Deontay Harris, maybe, a big play here or there. But I'm not looking too much on the Saints side for fantasy, but Dallas, a lot of their players are going to have good outings.
Okay, so that's so one of the questions we have for this game, do you trust any player outside of Mark Ingram? I think we feel comfortable starting Taysom Hill, especially if you have, a couple quarterbacks on a bye week this week. Anybody outside Ingram? Are you starting Harris? Are you starting Kyle? Okay. No. I'm glad we're on the same page. I don't feel comfortable with anybody.
Man. You simply can't. I think like the Saints offense has just been, without Alvin Kamara, and even with Alvin Kamara, you kind of have to start Alvin Kamara, and that's it. But the situation we're in now, like Mark Ingram, obviously, he has, like I said before, RB2, upside. Taysom Hill has QB1, I should say. I was about to say RB1, but maybe that's on the table as well. He's a receiver, running back. You know what I mean? So like,
and now with Joe Mixon though, Joe Mixon RB1.
So he has like QB1 on the table today, but it's disgusting to have a Marquise Callaway, a Deontay Harris, or any of those other guys in your starting lineups and thinking you're going to get anything really like, above 5 points. Let's put it like that.
It's so sad looking at this offense now compared to what we were looking at the beginning of the season. We had Jameis Winston throwing to Michael Thomas and Adam Troutman and Marquez Callaway and Alvin Kamara. And every single player I just said right there outside of Callaway is not playing tonight. And it's like, man, what are we doing?
I really wasn't really too excited though in the offseason, to be 100% honest. Like the Adam Troutman hype train, I killed that immediately. That was just annoying.
That did get out of control. That did get out of control.
Michael Thomas, I kind of was on the fence that he would come back after the 4 weeks, but then things started getting weirder and weirder, and then I'm like, fuck.
But at the same time, you want to see these guys play.
Yeah, but it was crazy because in August we were still having that debate of not knowing who the starter is. So people were really thinking Taysom Hill's going to be a starter or Winston, whatever the case may be. So I was really excited for Michael Thomas to come back if Jameis Winston was the starter.
Yeah, but, I agree. Who'd have thought it'd take this long into the season to get a Taysom Hill start?
For
real, what I mean, especially considering Jameis Winston tore his ACL, and we're who's the answer? Trevor Siemian.
I mean, he was a top 5 or a top 7 quarterback. The 3 to 4 weeks he was playing, that's nothing light. He was actually out there doing serviceable things,
bro. That Sean Payton offense, it works.
It works.
That being said, I do like the under in tonight's game. So the Saints are missing their quarterback 1, their running back 1, their wide receiver 1, their offensive tackle, their left tackle 1, their right tackle 1, and their left guard 1. That's a lot, and their tight end 1. That's a lot of pieces to be missing on offense. And I do so while I think Dak has a nice game, I do kind of like how the Saints match up defensively with what Dallas will try to do, because Demario Davis is a good cover linebacker. I think he'll do a solid job on Dalton Schultz. We'll see if they can keep him out of the end zone. And then if they think Cooper is going to be a decoy, you have Lattimore on CD Lamb. Like, it could be a grinded out kind of game. And the Saints I think they have the least rushing touchdowns allowed in the NFL this year, or close to it. I think they're bottom 10 in the league. So it might be a long night for the offense, but it only takes Dallas 2 or 3 plays. You know what I mean? It takes 2 or 3 and they're right there. So CD will get his, you know what I mean? Lattimore can't shut him down completely. So I'm still feel comfortable starting CD Lamb. But is there anything else on this Thursday night game we want to touch, or
No. I mean, just don't go out there playing Amari Cooper. I can't stress that enough.
That is true. Get him out of your lineups. Let's hit the mailbag. Let's hit the mailbag.
We got a couple good questions. Some good questions that came in late. I feel as though some of these questions, it's a good situation to have, but I feel as though, some of these situations, it's kind of disgusting to actually say. But let's get into the mailbag. I'll do the first one. So you got Henry or Pitts PPR. It's very simple, straight to it. The tight ends or a streaming flip-flop, week. I mean, Jack Doyle was top 5 last week, ladies and gentlemen. Top 5, Jack Doyle. Man, Javar, what up?
What up, Javar? Man, the tight end landscape has been tough, dude. It's been tough.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. I feel as though every single year, we try to find that one late round gem. They end up not working because we end up with, guys like Jack Doyle, tight end 1 last week. So it is what it is. But if we had to lean, Cody, are you going to go Hunter Henry or Kyle Pitts?
I'm going Kyle Pitts, and it's much more about Hunter Henry than it is Kyle Pitts. That Bills defense is good. That Bills defense has been great all year. One of the top defenses in the league. I think it's in Buffalo. Chance of snow. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Hunter Henry, you're touchdown dependent. And I don't like touchdown dependent guys in low-scoring games, and I think that's what that's going to be. Give me Pitts against a Buccaneers pass defense that has been solid, but not great. So,
yeah,
give me Pitts, but I don't love either play this week, to be honest.
No, I don't. I feel as though we have to do Vime over, touchdown dependent. It's definitely, a must, because I feel as though with Pitts, he's still getting 5 to 8 targets. He's still getting that Vime. And you look at Hunter Henry, he's getting 3 to 4 targets, and 3 of those are in the red zone. So there's that. Yeah.
And the value targets mean differently, right? Like targets that go to Hunter Henry are different than targets that go to Jacoby Myers or whatever. But
yeah,
at the same time, like in PPR, I kind of got to, you got to kind of side with Pitts on
Mine is king here.
It is, man. We've been saying this. Next one, your guy. I think he might be your guy now. I think I'm going to start calling him that.
No. He's toxic, bro. I can't deal with toxic on my rosters. Yeah, it's so annoying.
So we got Myles Gaskin or Damian Harris PPR. And then I actually had a follow-up question about Gaskin too, but let's answer this one first. Gaskin or Harris PPR?
This is really kind of tough because we've seen Myles Gaskins burn us every other week. But I feel as though, he broke the curse last week. It was an on week for him. He has the Giants, so it's like a semi-good matchup. But then you got snow in Buffalo. This might be a heavy run game. And I feel as though, him and Stevenson are splitting the workload. I think even Bolden last week was involved as well in an even rotation. I think they were all at 30%, snap opportunity between all 3 of them. So I feel as though it might be, a little run back committee going on over there, but they might all run the ball very well and might end up running the end zone with snow. So, I might go leaning towards Damian Harris for the touchdown upside.
Okay. So I'm going to ask, C. Henry asked, Gaskin or Gordon, Melvin Gordon, where do you feel? So if you had to rank Harris, Gaskin, Gordon, we already know you got Harris above Gaskin. Where are you throwing Melvin Gordon in that list?
Division games. I might throw Gordon this week under Gaskins, just because Javonte Williams is really heating up right now.
I agree, and I don't think Gordon's 100% either. I wouldn't be shocked if this is
He got hurt
Gaskin.
on the first play, so there's no way he's 100%. He came in and he didn't really like when he first came back, like he got slowly but surely put back in rotation. But I think Javonte Williams is heating up, so that's probably why he'll be at the bottom.
Yep. I agree with that order. Actually, I don't like that we agree. What's up, Kennedy? Love the Flames.
It is true. It's kind of like weird. Back-to-back weeks, we start agreeing on everything.
Yeah, I don't like this. We need to stop talking to each other so much. Let's move on. We got one more set of running backs to talk about. Jamal Williams against Minnesota or Miles Sanders against the New York Jets. Both guys really have good matchups. Like
they do.
The Vikings have been solid against the run, but like PPR, man, Jamal Williams should eat.
He should eat. I think he'll get more targets than usual with Swift out. So I think the upside is definitely there. Check down. A good chunk of yards. I'm not going to say I expect a touchdown out of him, but I'm going to solely play him more so because Myles Gaskins isn't 100% right now, and he's basically going to be playing hurt if he does play. Just something to monitor. It's not a serious injury, like he just aggravated it, and they kind of sat him, the rest of the game last week. That's why we saw Boston Scott kind of come out of nowhere. But being that we know he's hurt again after just coming off of IR, I can't be gambling, man. I'm not a gambling man in the playoffs.
I do kind of like Sanders this week, but I know, like I've seen Jamal Williams do it several times this year.
Week one. I mean, week one.
So I like Jamal Williams. I don't think Miles Sanders is a bad play, though, to be quite honest.
Risky play.
It is.
It's not a bad play. Great matchup. I love the matchup.
I know, great matchup. Plus, if Jalen Hurts isn't 100% mobile, but maybe Jordan Miles Sanders gets back.
Jordan Howard is back.
Dude, what's going to happen? Sirianni, just pick a guy, man. Pick a guy.
What's going to happen, though. It's like you don't want to see it because everybody loves Miles Sanders. Like, I love Miles Sanders, too. Honestly, I feel as though he should be used exactly how Saquon was used. They're both from Penn. I feel as though both of those guys can handle that workload. But availability is your best ability. He's been injured.
That's true.
So I don't know if he could handle that workload. I would like to. I would like to get a peek of it because he hasn't actually got the full the full chance to have that Saquon Barkley type workload.
Yep. And speaking of a guy coming off an injury, little quarterback question here. Kyler Murray against Chicago or Kirk Cousins against Detroit. I might be on where do you stand on this one? Because I might be opposite of you. I'm going to be honest.
Give me Kirko, Captain Kirk.
God damn it. Why do we agree again? I don't feel 100% comfortable about starting Kyler Murray. One, if he's not 100% and not 100% mobile. I understand the Chicago's defense isn't the Chicago's defense of old, but if he's not 100% and D-Hop's not 100%.
Yeah. It's decent. It's a decent defense. I'll say that. But I do feel as though Kirk Cousins is playing out of his mind. Right now, he has two top 10 wide receivers right now, and Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. And I feel like last week's interception wasn't his fault, 100%.
Yeah, and honestly, Kirk Cousins has been playing out. He doesn't get the shine for it because, quite frankly, the play calling in Minnesota hasn't been great, and they've been the opposite of clutch. He's been solid for them this year, and I like him. I mean, he's been good for fantasy too.
Yeah, he's great for fantasy, man. But yeah, Kirko gets the dub.
Kirko bangs. All right, we got a choose two. Okay, little choose two here at wide receiver. Bateman, Claypool, Galladay, Jefferson. Can we just get Galladay?
Yeah, get Galladay.
Right the hell
out of here.
Okay. Good. Okay. So it's a choose two between Bateman, Claypool, and Jefferson. Galladay, the last time Galladay scored a touchdown, Matt Stafford was his quarterback. All right. What are we doing here?
Yeah, get Galladay out of there. You might. I don't want to say drop Galladay because again, injury. Like I'm not telling anybody to drop anybody from this week on based on the playoffs. It's just getting a little too crazy with injuries and stuff. Oh, Cody just dipped out on me, but okay. But I definitely feel as though, with all the injuries going on, you got to keep your guys. You need to have the next man up. I'm pretty sure Cody would be back. He just dipped out of nowhere. But if we have to choose two, the options are Bateman, Claypool, Van Jefferson, basically. I'm going to lean Bateman, and I'm probably going to full send Van Jefferson. This is not being a Rams fan. I just feel as though it's the better option here. I feel as though Van Jefferson showing up and showing out, showing he's a deep threat, not Tutu Atwell, not Deshaun Jackson. It is Van Jefferson making the downfield catches. So feel as though, going against Jacksonville, the defense sucks anyway. So Van Jefferson will be obviously the number one guy I would start. Claypool, he has Deontay Johnson to worry about. Deontay Johnson having alpha target share. Let's just say that Claypool is not really that, wide receiver 2 we would want 100% to have. But I definitely feel as though we have to. Cody is dealing with some camera issues, but I'm going to full send Rashad Bateman. I like his target share. It's healthy. And like I said, Van Jefferson's a full send. So that was actually the last question on the show. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe, man. Let's run these numbers up. And make sure you guys share the video for the replay for people who missed out on it. But we are going to end the show, and I'll see you guys next week. Shout out to 32-Bit for producing and presenting the Fantasy Heat Check, and I'll see you guys next week at 7 o'clock. Peace.